Welcome to the Paul Cervizzi Show, where the black belt qualities transcend into everyday life and business. Today, I am honored to have my dear friend and my martial arts brother, Dan Barretto. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you, Soki. How are you? I'm very happy to be on the show. What an amazing vehicle you have here, and congratulations
Oh, I'm
to
so
everyone.
excited to have you. I'm so excited to have you, and I'm even more excited that we've been able to spend some days together sharing and teaching and talking about different things that we can do to improve other people's lives or how we
Yes,
improve our own. So before we get started, I just want to hear a little bit of a background about you. Obviously the show is taking the grit of the black belt training and what we do in the martial arts and how that really helps us to focus in everyday life and
sure.
help not only ourselves but others. So you grew up in New Jersey, right? Newark, New Jersey. So tell me a little bit about that.
Sure thing. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. I was there till I was 18, actually.
Yep.
Um, my parents literally came to graduation in a U-Haul truck and were like, kissed me on the forehead, and off they went to Houston, and I went off to the University of Maryland.
So right. So I know we've known each other for about 5 years now and become great friends. But you did tell me the story, a little bit of background. You went there for football, right?
I
So
did.
tell me a little bit about that.
I played football at the University of Maryland for a couple of years,
Yep.
and I got hurt early on. So I was able to transfer, and it's really when I fell in love with learning to Columbia University.
So you transferred over from
From
University of Maryland
correct,
to Columbia. Okay, got it.
correct. And the cool thing was, is I had a football coach that had coached me in high school.
Yep.
He was now coaching at Columbia University.
Okay.
So when I lost my scholarship due to injury, he said, "Hey, come over here, carry the water buckets,
Yeah.
whatever needs to get done." They gave me some grant money, and I was able to tough it out. It was a great time. I
Awesome.
really fell in love with learning at Columbia, I have to tell you.
So when you say that, expound on that a bit.
Sure. So I was a typical student athlete. I thought full of myself and kind of running all over the place and really not focusing on education as much as I should have.
Right.
I was in a school initially that was really focused on sports.
Right.
I then was able to transfer out of that high school into another Catholic high school,
Okay.
Our Lady of the Valley, which is still prominent in my life today. Just this morning, I was talking to my ex head football coach, John Priori, who has been like a father to me.
Uh huh.
Mike Papalardo as well. He was my punting coach and my line coach. An amazing guy. Another guy, Ron Manzella, largely an Italian neighborhood, right? Um, but it was just a phenomenal time in my life. But I wasn't as focused on education,
But
right?
so the athletic part, the football and the scholarship and what have you, and that grind at University of Maryland, and then you transfer. It kind of reminds me a little bit. So my son Christopher, who you know very well,
Yes.
and are near and dear to, played football at Colgate University for a short time, and due to concussions and whatever, um, wasn't able to medically continue.
Hmm.
But he stayed on with the team, like you said. Whether it's the water boy, he became like the film director,
Yes.
and he traveled with the team and did everything. So it's interesting that despite your athletic history and your athletic prowess, you then, with the transfer over to the other university, you still stayed with the team, so to
Yes.
speak.
Yes, I love team sports. I love individual sports. Obviously, I love team sports because of the camaraderie
Right.
and a lot of the things that I've done in my life, both professionally as a media agency owner, but also in my tactical world as well, uh, is team focused.
Team
And,
focused.
and so, while the individual is important, can't win without the team,
Exactly.
particularly when there's lives on the
And
line.
I always say,
Right.
I say to my students, right? There's no I in team.
Exactly.
Exactly. Awesome. All right. So you graduate from Columbia,
Mhm.
and that brings you into, because you got a very diverse background, which we're going to dive into and different aspects and what have you. So what happens after college?
So there starts my adventure. I was going to tell your wife, who's a lawyer. Columbia at the time had, and it still does, I believe, where you could apply to the law school. Now, remember this, they have 10,000 applicants a year
Right.
and they accept 223. I don't know where they got that number
Sure.
from. Um, but if you were in the school already
Yep.
and had the grades and went through the application process, they would allow you to get into the law school. So I get into the law school, and as I'm preparing to start law school, because remember now I'm in Manhattan in New York by myself,
Yep.
right? My parents are in Houston, and I remember my mom calling me and saying, "Your dad just bought a defunct nightclub. He
Really?
needs your help," like that. So now I'm 21, 2 years old,
Yep.
right? And I've got, okay, do I go run a nightclub or do I go to law
Yeah.
school?
So it's always the risk reward, right?
And the part of that was is my parents didn't really speak English very well. They were, kind of in that transition phase of first generation. And I decided to go help them. And between my brother and I, we built that company, and really largely to my brother's credit.
So the nightclub
Mhm.
was in Houston.
Houston, Texas.
Yep.
And it was during the time, it was a salsa club, largely Hispanic club. And
Okay.
we grew it into 5 different clubs. It was a pretty big company, actually, the largest in Houston. And that sort of segues into my tactical stuff. And I'll tell you why.
Awesome. Yeah.
Because during that time, the early 80s, mid 80s,
Yeah. Is that where we're around mid 80s?
Houston was in the throes of a battle with Pablo Escobar.
Oh,
A lot of drugs, a lot of killings, a lot of violence.
got it.
Houston's still violent in many ways, but during that time, there was a real need for the Houston Police Department, Harris County Sheriff, they were overwhelmed pretty much.
Got it.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's how I was able to become friendly with police officers, for example, or FBI
Through
agents,
the
or
nightclub business
through the
itself.
nightclub
And you
business.
must have met a lot of different people in that
I'll tell you
business.
a funny story,
Sure.
really great story. So, um, I mean, we were busy. Paul, couple thousand people a night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right?
Tough business.
So I remember Saturday night, the place is just packed, and a couple FBI agents come to the door, and they're like, "Can we talk to you really quickly?" I said, "Sure." Bring them in the office. "Hey, what can I help you with?" And they lay out all these pictures of me and my family, right? And we've been following you guys for a year and a half.
Yeah, that must have been scary.
Not really, because they were bored. The next thing they said was, "You guys are the most boring people we ever met in
Oh,
our lives,"
got
right?
it.
Because think about it, right? Just we come from New Jersey, Italian background. All of a sudden, they start trying to connect dots, right?
Yep.
But the interesting part was that they had been following us, and they said, "Hey, you guys got to be the most boring people on the planet because you go from work to home, work to home."
Right. Doing the right thing, right?
Yes. And so I became friendly with those guys, actually.
Okay.
And they needed a translator a couple of times, and
So you
that kind
speak
of stuff.
fluent Spanish, right?
Fluent Spanish and Italian, and I defend myself in French as well.
Well, let's go back for a second.
Mhm.
So you grow up in New Jersey,
Yes.
go to the University of Maryland,
Yes.
you go to Manhattan to Columbia,
Correct.
then you go to Houston.
Correct.
Is the Spanish now being learned the language of the
Oh, no,
Spanish?
no. I learned that on the streets of Newark, New Jersey. My mom spoke Spanish to us.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so I've always been fluent. It's been a godsend.
Awesome.
I remember my grandfather, who spoke both Italian and Spanish,
Yep.
and he said, "One day this is going to be a phenomenal tool for you. It
Sure.
may not be that now because, there's 10 Hispanic people around, but you're going to see in 20, 30 years, and God bless him. I love that. I love that he gave me that advice.
Absolutely. I did a recent podcast where I talked about the importance of education and that knowledge is power. And we may not realize it at that moment,
Yes.
but as we go through life and go through the journey, if we, and my mother, God rest her soul, always said, Paul, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? And
Exactly.
that applies to everything. But the more you know, the more knowledge you have, the more things you can do.
Exactly.
That's what separates you from everybody else.
I'll tell you a cool story, and you've seen him. My son, I have a 9-year-old. His name is Ikenna, and from when he was in the womb, we would play him Japanese songs in Japanese.
Right.
We'd play, as you know, opera. He sings
Yep.
opera. Um, he sings Andrea Bocelli. He sings in Spanish, right? So what that's done, and I really feel, and I've done some research on it, but I really feel that multiple languages, particularly Asian languages, will open up new neural pathways
Sure.
for a kid, and it just makes their brain so much more active early on.
Couldn't agree with you more. Let's go back to so you get involved with police, tactical training, and we'll get into that as far as having your own program
Mhm.
and teaching and rolling that out. When did you get introduced to, obviously tactical training is self defense, but when did you get introduced to the martial arts itself?
So I'll tell you a funny story going back to Newark, New Jersey.
All right, back to New Jersey.
Back to New Jersey. I'm about 8 or 9 years old, and I've always been a street fighter, day one, right? I'm not the most polished guy. You're not going to see, beautiful katas from me. You're not going to see any of that stuff. I've been a street fighter all my life. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. I mean, it's what we do, right?
Gotcha.
And so I had an uncle. His name was Julio Rivas, and Julio Rivas was an Olympic boxer in the early '60s. And he was a maintenance man in one of the apartment buildings where we lived.
Okay.
And somehow he convinces the owner to give us a little spot to give him a little spot to build a boxing ring.
Really?
So Julio notices that I am street fighting every single day. And
We won't get into why
yeah,
that.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
for
it's
another
just,
day.
that's
Okay,
for another day,
gotcha.
right? I'm 9 years old. I mean, I'm fighting for bazooka gum, that
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of stuff. So he notices that I'm a little bit out of control. Okay.
Yep.
And he says, "Hey, you're a great fighter. Why don't you come in my gym?" So he puts me in there with like a 7-year old. Now I'm like 9 years old. I'm twice the size of this kid. I'm going to bury this kid, right? Paul, this kid boxed my head off. He must have hit me 500 times. I couldn't even touch him, right?
That's right. You were telling me you're half your size, right?
Yep, half my size. I mean, the guy's just peppering me all over, right? And not softly, right? So, I'm getting angry, angry, angry,
Right,
angry.
right,
And I
right.
go try and tackle the guy, and Julio says, "No, that's not what we do here." Right. And he really started making me understand the art of controlling your emotions
Hmm.
and the art of not fighting.
The
Okay.
art of not fighting.
Yes.
That's why we're
Doesn't
treating
mean
today, right?
Now it doesn't mean that didn't fight
No, no,
afterwards and
no.
that I didn't get
I,
in trouble.
I'm
But
with
what
you.
that means is that I started it planted the seed of, hey, you know, you can get really hurt or you can hurt someone. Why not learn how to control your emotions and maybe talk it out a little bit?
Right.
And that's what's led me to my system today.
So how did you? All right. So that boxing experience obviously was a catalyst for a
Mhm.
lot of things.
Yes,
Then where do you are you introduced to karate or martial arts in Jersey or in
absolutely.
Houston or
Yes,
we're gonna fast forward in a few minutes to Hawaii and
yes.
know that the roots back to Hawaii. But so how did you get introduced to a formalized training or even an informal training?
So I'll tell you another great story, and it's a watch out for parents as well, right? I've been boxing now for what, 2 years. I'm like 11 or 12 years
Yeah.
old, and at 12, I bought my own business. That's another story I'll tell
Yeah,
you about
well, be
later,
part of the
which was
entrepreneurial journey.
significant,
Yeah,
really. Yeah, when we
sure.
get to that.
Absolutely.
Um, but I remember a friend of mine, Steve Karras, was going to a school in Belleville, right?
A,
In Belleville, New Jersey.
a karate school
Another a
or
karate school,
okay.
another big Italian enclave
Got it.
in that area, north of Newark.
Yeah.
And so he's, badgering me, come on, come on, come and see us, and all that kind of stuff. So I get to the school, And I remember the teacher was horrible. It was those old days where it's like, hey, what are you doing here? You're from the other side of town.
Uh,
And so he tries to get his karate students to,
Attack you.
yeah, basically,
Yeah.
let's see what you can do. Well, of course, they can kick and I can't, but I can punch and they can't.
Right.
Right. And I can move. And I used to be able to move around pretty good anyway. But that sort of soured me on karate. It wasn't the system.
So your first experience with it was not
Was
what
not
you
good at all.
expected or was
Not
not
at all.
positive. Okay.
Yeah. And
And
that's a watch out for teachers too that watch this, for instructors. You got to be welcoming to your students,
right.
right? Especially the new guys. We were talking about this the other day where it takes a lot of courage to walk through that door.
Well, we had a tournament the other day, right? And there was people from all walks of
Yes.
life,
Yes.
all different styles, different
Mhm.
systems, all ages from age 3. And I think our first place taker in the 50 over division was 78 years old,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So it does take a lot, right? It does take a lot for people to get out there.
Takes a lot of courage, Paul, particularly a kid that's maybe challenged in a particularly physical way or a mental way, to step through the door, understanding that you're going to face another person that could potentially hurt you
Right.
physically. The courage I mean, I'm in such admiration of these kids. And look, you've got tons of folks that are older that never practice anything.
Right.
The courage that those people have to have, it's almost different than the kids, right? It's not just a physical thing, but it's a mental thing, right? Too, right? Hey, I'm whatever, 60 years old. I've never done anything like this, and I don't want to
Ye-
look foolish.
exactly. So really what I take so much pride in, and you've witnessed this through your many visits up here and in your own, but I really am so proud of the 3 and 4 year olds
Hmm.
that march in, or
Yeah.
maybe not march in, but we get them to march in.
Yes.
And also, we've really, with an ambassador family, the Frizzis, who you know,
Hmm.
have made it their calling, I guess, is to get more seniors. They're
Yes.
in their 60s and Kathleen in her 70s, right? To get more seniors into the dojo
Hmm.
because the benefits, and
Yes.
this is really what we're going to talk about in the thrust of the show, is the benefits of training in the arts
Hmm.
transcends to everything we do in the community,
1,000%.
right? That's what it's about. And you made the statement about we train not to fight. You're exactly right.
Yes.
But we're also trained to take it out of the studio and apply it to everyday life.
Absolutely.
Isn't that what we should be doing, Dan?
No question. And think about this. I always tell parents, look, if you're not talking to your kids, someone else is.
Exactly.
Okay. So and we shouldn't dance around this. You know that there's a huge gang problem in the United States,
Right.
all over the world, really. What makes us and a gang different? Same thing, right?
Well,
It's a societal thing. It's a group thing. It's we all have the same goal. The thing that makes the difference is the values that we're instilling,
right.
right?
Right. So being in law enforcement and probation for 32 years, I dealt with a lot of disadvantaged youth, gang members, and whatever. And you're exactly right. It's no different from a team and a sport and an art. Why? Because it's a sense of belonging,
Exactly.
right? It's a sense of purpose.
Exactly.
Good, bad, or indifferent, legal or illegal. It's a sense of belonging,
That's exactly right.
right? So, what we try to do each and every day at our studios, and I know you do too in all areas, is to empower these kids, empower the adults, empower the seniors,
Yes.
and create that community. And that's why I call it a martial arts family, right?
Yes.
And that's so important, especially today, right?
Absolutely.
So, when you had that negative experience
Hmm.
across town,
Hmm.
did you try another place? What did you do?
I didn't. I soured on karate right away.
Okay.
and kept boxing.
Okay.
I
Which is
had
great.
and I started really getting into a wonderful guy by the name of Mike Shepard Sr. He is a United States college baseball legend.
Gotcha.
His sons are now, and their sons are now coaches, and guys like Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio all went through Mike Shepard Sr. Mike Shepard Sr. would leave his job as head baseball coach of Seton Hall University,
Yeah.
run across the street to Mount Vernon Place, Mount Vernon Elementary School,
Uh huh.
and we had a rec center there,
Gotcha.
and he had a wrestling team.
Wrestling team.
Yes, and he would kick my ass, man. Okay, Old Marine hit the beaches of Normandy. There was no quarter there, right? I
Oh,
mean,
I know.
you,
Oh, I know. My son wrestles,
right?
and I get it. I know. I know.
And it's
It's tough.
probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Amazing guy, helped me get into multiple programs, not only martial baseball. I used to love baseball. I still love baseball, but just an amazing guy. So I went from boxing, 2 days in karate, because did make it back the second day, but not the third,
Yeah, and you left.
and then and wrestling. And so that was my foundation really is in that, in boxing and American wrestling.
Got it.
So
And that's a great foundation, right?
with the caveat that Mike Shepard, old Marine, hit the beaches of Normandy, would also teach us hand-to-hand combat stuff
Okay.
within reason, right?
So tell me a little bit about hand-to-hand combat, because obviously you got your tactical training and all of that, but also your entrepreneurial spirit and your marketing and other businesses. So let's get into it right now.
Sure
All
thing.
right. So you got the hand-to-hand combat. You've graduated. You've gone through different things. Let's fast forward. And I know you said you started your first business at age 12, which is absolutely remarkable. And your son, it sounds like he's following in your same
That's right.
footsteps, right?
That's right.
Let's get to your real life, your big life,
Sure.
your adult life.
Sure
All
thing.
right. Tell me a little bit about you were in Houston. What happens next? Where are we?
So I'm in Houston, and I'm giving some street advice to the police department, to the Harris County Sheriff, who now the sheriff and I have been great friends now
Right.
for 30 some odd years.
Uh huh.
Basically grew up together. Ed Gonzalez,
Right.
and around 96, 7, there are some rumblings of not rumblings. We've always been in conflict in the Middle East, right?
Right.
And so a friend of mine from college was working at Blackwater, Eric Prince,
Hmm.
um, basically contractors, military contractors, and he said, "Hey, can you come and do a hand-to-hand knife, street knife seminar for us?"
And where?
That was in Maryland at the time.
Okay.
I went up to Maryland at the time. And so when I did that, almost immediately after, it was like a 3-hour seminar. So almost immediately after, 4 or 5 of those guys came and said, "Hey, what do you think about coming on with us to train and for us to train you as well?" So I said, "Sure, why not?"
Wow.
I said, "Sure, why not?" I've never been one to shy away from adventure,
No, it doesn't
uh,
sound like it.
contact, or excitement, right? So,
Wow. So I don't know how much of this you can share or not, because, like you said, we're dealing with government.
yes.
Um, what was that
So
like?
theaters in the Middle East, Eastern Europe a lot to this day. I was just in Poland 8 months ago,
Yep.
9 months
I
ago.
remember. Yeah.
I just came back from Israel a couple months ago with the IDF training it, during my training. I not only trained weaponry and hand-to-hand combat, but explosives and munitions, that kind of thing.
Wow.
So
I mean,
specialty stuff. So um, I have had the good fortune to be in many theaters and been able to help
yeah, theaters
veterans.
is an understatement, right? So
Yes,
that's dangerous stuff.
very much so. Yes.
So we first met.
Mhm,
about 5 years ago when I was
mhm.
speaking to a dear friend, Sifu Al de Cascos in
Yes.
Hawaii,
Mhm,
and I was running an event, our extravaganza, and he said to me, "Hey, can you have this? Would it be okay if we had this gentleman come up to your event?" And he sends me a picture of you, and you had
mhm.
the Kali sticks in your
That's
hand, and I said, "Hey, fellow Italian, why not?" Right, and
right.
that's when we first met.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit about, because you've got a rich history in Hawaii,
Mhm.
and you can explain just like I can explain, but you're the guest and you live there. So um, tell us about Hawaii and what you did in the arts. Um, because as we know from Kaja Kempo and
Mhm.
Kempo, Hawaii is the birthplace of our art.
Yes. Yes. So I had a nephew, and he knew a Kajukenbo teacher out in, I want to say Tyler, Texas. Don't quote me on that.
Nope,
Might not- North of Houston somewhere.
got it.
And he kept bothering me to go in and see them, uh, and how they're street fighters and this and that kind of thing. And you know, I'm up to here, and I'm looking to walk away from tactical stuff. I don't want to be a street fighter at this point, right?
You started at
Uh,
7, right?
yes, yes. So seen way too much, but in any event, the I finally went to one of the classes. I liked it because there was a lot of contact. I think that's why Kajukenbo isn't as mainstream, and Kempo isn't as mainstream as maybe karate or Taekwondo because there's a lot of contact.
So, for people that don't know on that may be listening to the show today,
Mhm.
what separates the Kempo, the Kaji Kempo from from what you're saying as maybe a traditional
Sure.
karate?
So those two particular arts are a mixed martial art.
Right.
Let's start there. Kajukenbo, and specifically in 1947, was kind of the defining year for them, where uh, the story goes where these 4 or 5 guys get together and they're practicing against each other. There's one guy, Adriano Imperato, who systemizes this kind of stuff. So one guy's a kung fu guy, one guy's a boxer, one guy's a jujitsu guy. He systemizes this thing in 1947, and from there develops the very first mixed martial art, but a street version of this.
So we both know you got multiple individuals,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And you've got multiple disciplines. So one of the individuals was a jujitsu guy,
mhm.
one was a karate guy, one
Yep.
was a kempo guy, one was a Chinese boxing guy, and they're all together sharing training or whatever they're doing, and they come up with this system, a mixed martial arts system. So is that the system that you went to in north of Texas, or is this
Yes.
something different?
Yes.
All
And
right.
so it was Kajukenbo. It was a
So now,
Kajukenbo.
okay, so now we're in Hawaii.
But I do want to correct
Yeah,
one
yeah,
thing for the
please.
record. So these 5 guys did not get into a studio and train against each other.
Okay.
So this is over a couple of years, right? So like maybe the kung fu guy is training with the karate guy. And then the karate guys,
Yeah.
a couple months later, training with the jujitsu guy. And eventually they did some things together later on. But I want to really clarify that because I have a historical duty to Kaju Kembo now
Well,
as
you
well.
are quite the historian, and that's why I'm asking.
Sifu Mike Young left me the history of Kaju Kembo in hard letters and things. So we'll talk about him later, but he's been one of my mentors. He passed away.
Didn't correct me if I'm wrong, but we've got James Matosi,
Mhm.
right? We've got William Chow, and we always speak about the lineage really coming from Chow down to the group.
Yes.
And what was the name of the group that the five?
So um, what do you mean in terms of the Black Belt Society? You mean?
Black Belt
Yes,
Society,
yes,
right?
yep, the Black Belt Society.
Right.
But let me tell you the real where we really began
Sure.
was Okazaki Sensei. So a guy
Okay.
by the name of
Yep.
Henry Okazaki comes by to the Big Island in 1894, 5, 6, and starts teaching Guaylo, which is round eyes. The Chinese word for round eyes, and he then moves a year later to Oahu,
Oahu.
and he's the one that really starts training folks in uh, uh, Danzanryu Jiu-Jitsu,
Right.
okay, which is the Jew in Kaju Kembo,
Right.
okay. Also a judo man, so that as well. So our influences start there with Henry Okazaki.
Got it.
Moves to James Mitosi
Yep.
and William Chow, two very different guys. Mitosi has a monk style, which is an escapist art type
Right.
of thing,
Right.
and William Chow has a Kempo style, really hard fist.
Thunderbolt, right? William K.S. Chow. Thunderbolt. Kwai Sun.
Correct. And so as these five, the Black Belt Society, start training with some of these folks, they start adapting some of these things.
Awesome.
Story goes actually that they would train some of these things and then go to Chinatown, where all the sailors were from World War II, and they'd get in fights with the sailors.
See
They'd
if it
try
worked,
out,
right?
see
So
if
is it
works.
true? Because history tells us they go into these specific places. It could be restaurants or
Yep.
bars or liquor store, and they start fights, see which techniques work,
Yes,
and abandon those that don't.
that's exactly.
And they
right.
add it to the system, or they delete it from the system.
That's exactly.
So did you trained in Hawaii?
I trained
All right.
in
So
Hawaii.
tell us a little bit about what brings you out to Hawaii?
So I worked for Planet Hollywood for a year and a half.
Okay.
They sent me out to open a store out there, and then one in Maui, and then one in Indonesia.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
Yep.
So cool places, right? Kind of goes with my, I do Ciroc Sea Lot, not then, but uh, it's all connected. Is the cool part of what I'm saying. I meet a guy by the name of Mike Young.
Right.
Seafood
And
Mike.
he's deceased,
He
and you
passed
speak
away.
very, very highly of him.
Sifu
Tell
Mike
us a little
has
bit about
probably saved my life in so many ways that I can't even tell you.
it. Okay.
And I'll just tell you a quick caveat before I tell you more about him. He would get angry if I didn't call him every day. Like with your kid, you're like,
Yeah.
gotta call me every day, right? And so we were on what's called an extraction. I've told this story live before, so I can tell it. So we're looking to get a guy that's kidnapped out of a room, right?
Out of a room.
Out of a room. And my phone starts just we're gonna breach the room any second, right? And my phone is just like blowing up. Cardinal rule: never have your phone on a mission, right?
Right.
So I break the cardinal rule, and I'm like, "See, for Mike, I can't talk right now."
Oh gosh.
What the hell are you doing? Anyway, saved my life. If I had not answered that phone, I would have been second in that room. We would have all been dead.
Scary.
That delay
Yep.
of me having to
Pick up the phone.
pick up the phone, which I shouldn't have had anyway. I should have got thrown in jail for that,
Wow.
right? It gave us the ability to survive that.
So
And we got him out, by the way. So
that's good. So you trained with him, or did
Trained
you
with
train
him.
with someone else?
He used to do Hungar,
Kung Fu,
Choi Li Foot,
Charlie Foot.
and also Kajukembo. So he's a black belt under Adriano Emperado Sijo,
Wow.
right? Sifu Mike introduces me to Sixto Ramos Jr. and Luca Ramos Jr.
Great people, wonderful, classy people who we had at the extravaganza, right?
I mean, the luck I've had in my life to have Mike Young, Libero Sullivan, who Mike Young introduced me to as well, who was Okazaki's last living black belt, taught me jujitsu. Okay, I mean, can you imagine that? Okazaki, O'Sullivan, and then me. I mean, come on, that doesn't even make sense to me, right? Sixto Ramos Jr., in every way, my father.
Absolutely.
Luca Ramos, his wife, the first woman black belt for Kajukembo.
Beautiful people. Beautiful people.
Al DeCascos Jr., whom is world famous martial artist.
Icon.
And Al Dela Cruz, whom is also an icon.
Icon.
And those 4, 5, 6 people are responsible for the almost the entire lineage of Kajukembo to this day.
And you were you able to train with each of them? Or how
Absolutely.
does that how did that work?
100%. So here's what I did. I started going to a Kajukembo school in Hawaii. Don't even ask me who the
Yeah, yeah.
instructor was. I can't remember. A couple of days, and I figured out, and I've done this all my life, right, in business as well, in life as well. So, if I'm going to get this information, if I'm going to learn, I want to learn from the very best or from the founder, right?
Absolutely.
So I started seeking them out. And Sifu Mike was a catalyst. Sifu Al DeCascos was a
Wonderful,
catalyst, and he would introduce
wonderful
me.
man.
We got to train several weeks with from Doce Pares. Gosh, what is his name now? I'll tell you in a
Yeah,
bit. I
yeah,
got
no
to
problem.
train with Pac Vic de Toires,
Yeah.
the founder of Ciroc Silat,
Silat. Yep.
with Horacio. That also came from Sifu Mike. Bruce Chucknick got
Yep.
to train
Hanchi.
months with him, years with him
Yep.
through Sifu Mike. So
What was the training? So
Kakoi,
obviously,
sorry, Kakoi Kanyete. I
gotcha.
apologize.
No problem. So you're mentioning multiple different arts. We started with boxing. We went to wrestling. You're talking about kung fu. We're talking about kaja kembo.
Mhm.
So what was the training like
Mhm.
with you don't have to go through all of them, but soft, intense, uh,
All of them
brutal,
were very intense.
intense.
All of them very
Tell me about
intense.
that.
Couple things with Kaju Kembo is a very physical, brutal art, right? Targeting the groin area, targeting a lot of
Soft
soft
tissue.
tissues.
Right.
And they want you to feel it. They want you to feel what it feels like when you get hit like that. Yes, you're wearing equipment part of the time, but you need to feel it, right? And that's why I think we talked about saying, hey, that's why this thing is not mainstream because a
Correct.
lot of people can't take that physicality, right?
Yeah, and if you do it in 2025,
You're gonna get sued.
we're going to get in trouble,
You
right?
know?
So yeah, so when I began too, there was no equipment. We would spar. There would be no
Yeah.
headgear. I think we may have had some hand gear or something
You know,
from genre or something, but other than that,
crazy.
you'd be fighting and you had no equipment. So
Yes.
I'm sure in Hawaii that was just
It was brutal, man, brutal. And one of the hardest trainings that I've had is Al DeCascos.
tell me about Sifu
So
Al,
Sifu
who's
Al,
great guy.
you know, not only from a physical standpoint, but from a repetitive nature, you had to get it right over and over and over again.
We have the
His,
same birthday, not the same
you
year.
do, you do.
September 6th, Sifu Al. He's 83, right?
Yes.
Great guy.
And I've seen some of his black belt tests where he'll drop a guy off in the mountain and he'll come down the mountain 10, 12 hours later in the dark, and there's 4 or 5 black belts waiting for him, and he's got to fight his way through there.
Through
And
the
that's the black belt test.
after 12 hours in the
Yeah,
mountains.
I've been there.
So we're talking about some mainstream then, but certainly not mainstream now.
Couldn't
You
do it
can't
now.
do it now,
Yeah,
right?
couldn't do it now.
So you went through a lot of martial arts training.
I'll tell you one of the arts that really sticks out to me,
Sure.
and now Horacio Rodriguez is the
Yeah, he's a
Mahaguru there.
wonderful guy. Wonderful guy.
Ciroc Silat. I
Yep.
love it because it's so cerebral. It's physics based.
Yep.
There is a lot of skeletal manipulation, not unlike what Koshoru does,
Yeah, yeah.
but in a much more brutal way, I guess we should call it what
But
it
at the
is.
same time, it seems very soft, right? So
Yes.
that's the beauty of that system and also
Yes.
jujitsu, right? We call jujitsu gentle art, yet at the
Yes.
same time, the person's rolling around and you're doing joint manipulation.
Running away from the pain.
Exactly, exactly. So now listen, you got all this martial arts training under your belt. You got some real severe, heavy, intense experience, some which
Yes.
obviously we're not and shouldn't talk about on this show. Let's now switch over a little bit about to your entrepreneurial spirit
Sure thing.
because you've got a background, your business background, your the way that you set up, your digital marketing
Sure thing.
and helping businesses to your new venture and what have you. Give us a little bit of insight into you're not a 9 to 5 guy.
No, I'm not.
So you're not a 9 to 5 guy. And I think, and that's truly the entrepreneurial
Sure
way.
thing.
There's a lot of us that, that either did it, which I did for 32 years, and I loved it and enjoyed it. But then it's time to like, wait a minute, let me spread my wings, kind of like we do to our kids to kind of get them.
And I think this notion of 9 to 5 is almost gone, right?
Yeah, but that's the old school, Dan.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
My father would do,
Yeah.
just get,
Mhm.
get out of college. Oh, I'm a probation officer right out of college, and I'm starting at 8:30 to 4:30, and you get your check,
Yes.
you get your pension, you get your health care, and you stay in that job for for your whole life. The
Absolutely.
kids of today, the people of today, that's gone.
I'll tell you a funny story really quickly, and I think I've told it a couple times, but I have a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
As you know, he's really interested in learning because that was my whole goal when he was born, right? When he was born, I wanted to say, hey, I don't want you to wait. In my mind, I don't want you to wait till you're in college to love learning. I want you to love learning from the time you get out of the womb. In any event, the other day I FaceTime with him as much as possible, every day if possible. He says to me, Daddy, I have something to tell you. We're on FaceTime.
This is a great story. I
Yeah.
love it.
I have something to tell you. Now remember, he's 9.
Oh, I know.
And I pay him $20 a week. He is the garage engineer,
Gotcha.
right? He's got to clean up, he's got to do his homework, he's got to help his mom do dishes, whatever. And I said, well, what's going on? He says, I don't think you have to pay me allowance anymore. He
He
starts
says, yeah.
setting me up like that, right?
Now
I
you
said,
think
well,
something's wrong or
yeah,
something,
I'm
right?
like, what's
Yeah.
going on, right? He says, well, I have to tell you, I started a YouTube channel like that. I said, really? Does your mom know about this? Well, yes, she helped me sign up and all this kind of stuff. He said, but I have a surprise for you. I said, what's that? He holds up a check from YouTube.
Get
So
out.
what is that?
That's right.
What is that? He goes, well, you don't have to pay me. You don't have to pay me my allowance anymore because I'm making money with my YouTube channel.
9 years old.
9 years old.
I love it. I
So
love it.
that really brought home what kind of a world we live in now.
And
Right.
he's an entrepreneur at 9.
And it's not little money.
No,
You know,
absolutely not. And
it's
if you have freedom to do what you need to do, but you have again that love of learning. And again, I go back time and time again, Dan,
yes,
that knowledge is power.
absolutely.
And I don't mean power like, physical power. It opens doors, it creates opportunities, it's networking, it allows you to meet people that you would have never met before.
Absolutely.
Tell us what you're doing now.
One thing I want to give parents a really a tip. And I'm not the greatest at it, but I want to tell you that you need to give your children a command. You need to insist that your children have a command of the English language. Paul, that singular thing has opened up so many doors for me. Uh, I am a student of Webster's dictionary. I get my 2 words a day to this day, and it's helped me so very much. And I
Abs-
really encourage parents to say, you need to have a command of the English language.
So you bring up a very good point, right? And you made a statement prior that if I forget your exact words, but if you're not talking with your children,
Mhm.
someone else is. And I think what we as martial arts business owners or owners in other fields that are involved with dealing with children,
Mhm.
it's our duty, especially at our ages and all that we've gone through, it's incumbent upon us
Mhm.
to teach these kids life skills.
Absolutely.
And I take so much, oh, I don't know. I think about this every day. And when I'm running our schools and when I'm watching the classes and seeing the kids, is there's kids that are hurting out there for a number of
Mhm.
reasons. And we don't have to get into the reasons. I mean, we had the
Mhm.
pandemic, we have all other issues going on, but there's a lot of kids out there that maybe cannot play that team sport,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of kids out there that play sports, and what we do enhances that.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's about empowering them,
Yes.
giving them confidence, having them go to the tournament and introduce themselves in front of 1,000 people that are there, right? That's what our duty is to the next generation.
No question. You know, I tell instructors and I tell students the same thing. Look, you think you have an opponent in front of you when there's another physical person in front of you.
Mhm.
That's not your opponent. The opponent you have is right here.
Right.
If you can control and overcome what this opponent is throwing at you, that is of no consequence.
And that's my mission now. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. And you know it is because you've
Yeah.
seen how schools operate, right? Is that I want to get out to the masses how important it is to learn self defense because it's used as a vehicle to teach our kids the life skills to
Yes.
empower them to be the best they can be in life when the parents are gone.
Absolutely. It's the only way you can sit on your I tell my students, I don't have many kid students. I have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple.
yeah.
I usually have adults, but I tell my adults all the time, and look, I teach my adults physical skills. Yes. But
Absolutely.
95% of my training, and we were talking about this the other day, is mental based. Because I can teach you how to anybody can teach you how to punch and kick.
Absolutely.
Not everybody can teach you how to stay away from violence, how to stay away, how to make the right decisions at the right time to avoid fighting.
Avoid, right?
Right.
Avoidance. And we talked about it even last night when we were working out. We did that seminar and
Yes.
workshop, right? Is we want to teach people how not to get into these
Exactly.
situations, right? When we teach our safety trainings,
Mhm.
and you can talk in a minute about that, but even when I go around and teach safety trainings, whether it be women's self defense or just to different groups of real estate people or other business folks, like you said, anybody can learn in 10 minutes a punch, a kick, a block, a throat grab, or this. But what did you do before that incident?
Exactly.
Because 99% of it could be avoided,
Exactly.
right? So that situational awareness, that scoping that you're going to talk about in a second of seeing from threat detection,
Mhm.
that's the most important thing. And that's
Absolutely.
the empowerment. So tell us about what you're doing with the urban combat and other things in your life right now.
So I had an epiphany several years ago as a martial arts instructor. Look, I've lived a life filled with violence. I'm not ashamed of it. It's been a life filled with violence. I like to think on the side of good,
Hmm.
right? Trying to uh, catch the bad guys, trying to avert bad things, right? But nonetheless, it's been a violent life, right? I've seen a lot of stuff that would make, in the famous words of Rambo's Colonel, make a billy goat puke,
Yep,
right?
yep, yep.
And it's not fun, right? And so many years ago, I had about 2009 or so, I had an epiphany. Man, I'm teaching these people how to fight, but I'm really missing the point in terms of how do they, we're all afraid, right? We all see trouble coming. We all see these crises, for lack of a better word, kind of building up into a physical altercation.
Yeah.
How can I figure out how to teach someone not only all of those precursors, but the idea of de-escalation and not fighting, avoidance,
So tell me about the
right?
de-escalation because that's huge.
And so, de-escalation is kind of a misnomer. A lot of people say, well, you can talk a guy off the cliff. No. What I like to do and the way I de-escalate situations is I know when things are coming. You can see them, right? So I'll give you just a basic example. Domestic violence. Let's talk about domestic violence. You're a woman at home. You know that your husband goes out on Thursdays and he gets drunk with his buddies And when he comes home, if you didn't pay the light bill, he's going to get angry. You guys are going to start yelling at each other. And do you see all the pre-event
Yeah,
indicators
it didn't
that
start with
you
the
can pull,
violence.
right? That the violence will not unravel if you on Thursday and said, "Hey, honey, why don't we go to Chili's together?"
Let's
Oh,
go
well, I'm going out
shopping.
with my boys, but let's go shopping. Let's spend some time together. That's the way to avoid the bang.
And you have to stop it, as we used to talk about in probation. You have to stop the circle of violence, right? You just did.
Exactly.
You put the buffer in there. It may
Exactly.
work, it may not work, but you have to stop it. If not,
You
it
would be
goes.
surprised at how easy it is to stop violent events if you use the pre-event indicators. Pull those threads that we talk about. I have a fantastic instructor. His name is Yusef Badu. I believe he's from Iraq, if I'm not mistaken. A U.S. Marine Corps,
Yep.
and one of the founders of the Left of Bang program,
Mm.
which I went through, and it's just so simple if you open your eyes just a little bit to see the elements of violence and how it leads up to an event and how easy it would be. So let's talk about, for example, okay, an active shooter, right? Let's This is one
Because
of my
you do
specialties.
active shooter
I
training,
do
right?
active shoot. I've been in 4 active shooter events. I've been shot 6 times. Okay. And let's think about that for a second. As the active, put yourself in the active shooter's shoes, right? You've got to plan, right? You got to figure out, okay, well, I'm going to shoot up this school. You've got to buy or secure a weapon. You've got to get ammunition. You've got to case the place. You've got to talk to people about comings and goings of people, right? All of these indicate you've got to get that rifle from the house to the car, that car from your house to the school without anyone seeing you. Of course, people see you,
Exactly.
right? So I'll give you a test, not a test, but something to do. Whenever there's a violent event, right? Watch the news the day of the event. Oh my God, how did this happen? And all this kind of stuff. And then the next day, watch the news again. Inevitably, and I'm talking about 100% of the time, there'll be someone on there. That guy was acting funny. I thought that bag that he was bringing to the car seemed suspicious. They didn't say anything. You see?
So we don't, I don't want to have a show particularly today about politics, but we
Mhm.
recently had the heinous assassination of a 31-year-old man, Charlie Kirk. And what you're talking about is resonating with me now. When you talked about the steps that it takes to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish,
Mhm.
there's a series of things that have to occur,
No question. No question about it.
right?
Absolutely.
And then we have to ask ourselves, like you said, then the news media comes in.
Mhm.
And then the narrative goes on. And the narrative in this particular situation is still going on,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to focus on that, but it's still going on.
But I do want to ask you a question on that particular event. Think about this. So you've got a 19-year-old,
think,
19, 18,
I think he's
19,
early 20s, but I'm not sure.
whatever, 20, 21 years old. You're telling me that a 21-year-old got a World War II rifle up onto a roof from, what was it, 200 yards away? Is that what he
Hmm.
hit him with? And he was able to pinpoint that shot from 200 yards away in front of what? What was it, 10,000, 20,000?
No, I don't think there was that many. I think it was a small crowd.
Okay.
But anyways, it
1,000
was a
people?
few thousand, right? A few thousand.
So you're telling me no one saw that? No one. Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist person. I'm an operational person. And I can tell you with confidence that hard to do, right?
Difficult to pull off, right?
Very difficult. It's difficult to do when you're a professional hitman,
Right.
right?
Right.
When you do that kind of stuff, very difficult to do. So,
So tie this back then. So you mentioned domestic violence and steps. We just talked about whether an assassin. There's steps.
yes.
right? What else do you in your threat
So
detection
so the
or
two major things I think in violent events that we can teach anybody to shoot guns and use bladed weapons, to
right?
punch, kick, all this kind of stuff. I think almost universally, outside of a couple of guys, Tony Blauer, Youssef is another one, that talks about how are we going to manage our fear
Mhm.
once we detect the threat. So before I take any student, they have to go through several hours of that. I need you to understand how to manage your fear once violence is upon you.
Tell me about fear management.
Okay. So look, violence is looking for you. I told the guys last night, I'll tell you again. Violence is looking, and it's looking for you. If it comes and you are the weak one in the link, it's going to come after.
Back to the confidence, back to the knowledge, back to the
Absolutely.
empowerment.
Absolutely. And for the women that are watching this show, it really is a matter of how you carry yourself,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
If you carry yourself as weak,
Yeah.
it will come to you.
Head down,
Okay. Head down
on
or
the
in your phone
phone,
or
distracted.
and I tell ladies all the time, have you ever been in a situation where you're going to go get in the elevator, there's a couple guys in there or a couple of people in there that something's telling you, you know what, these guys look off, but in the name of not being rude, you get in the elevator anyway.
Absolutely. I
Why?
hear about it all the time.
I tell people, look, I am giving you permission to be rude. You don't have to be rude directly, but say, my friend's coming. I'll see you later. That's it.
Absolutely. Well, there goes your preventative, right? And as a psychology major in college, we talk about ABC, antecedent behavior
Mhm,
consequence.
mhm.
That antecedent, what happens before, you don't need the behavior.
Yes.
Avoid it. Park somewhere else. Wait till someone's going. Talk. Be on the phone, right? So that's a
Yes.
whole different thing, and maybe we'll have you on again to talk more about the specifics of how to avoid different things, and that would be awesome.
Well, my training really lies within the fear management part is as important, right? Because fear is what's going to lock you up. Fear. I've got some really grisly videos of so many events, but active shooter events where the gun starts popping and people literally freeze in their tracks. Trained people freeze in their tracks
It's scary, right?
because it's scary.
And it's
Exactly.
fearing,
And it's
fearful.
like, hey, how is this? So your mind is deselecting, right? So how is this happening to me? This can't be happening to me. This kind of by the time you said three or four of those words, guess what? It's coming at you,
Too late.
right?
Too late.
So conversely, I teach people to make quicker decisions
Hmm.
based on how our brains work, on how the amygdala works, sending out those warning signals to say, make a decision now. If you're doing nothing, you're doing something. You're looking to get killed.
Well, that fight. I mean, you know as well as I do, right? That fight or flight kicks in, and you've got all types of chemicals in the brain flying around, and all these different body
A-
responses.
And look, it's counterintuitive. The way I approach the decision making process within violent events is counterintuitive of what we do in business every day.
Right.
So in business, we need the very best up to date information,
Right.
right? In order to make the best decision
We
for the
need the
company.
data,
You need the
right?
data.
We need the data. And
Violence doesn't work that way though,
right.
because violence is upon you. So what we like to do is take a baseline. So in our baseline right here, you and I are talking, you're asking me questions, there's a cameraman, there's a director. Fantastic. That's our baseline. That is the baseline for a podcast here or in Russia or in Argentina, everywhere.
Correct.
So if we walked into a podcast in any of those places, that is our baseline. That's what our expectation is, right? But if someone walks through that door and they're yelling and they've got a mask on and all this, we call that an anomaly.
Correct.
So 3 bits of information make us make a decision. Okay.
Mhm.
So I call it the bad principle. Baseline plus anomaly equals decision. You see an anomaly, and it could be good or bad, right? A kid can come through that door and
Yeah.
they're smiling and they're dancing. That's also an anomaly, but we make the decision not to do anything about it.
Right.
If someone comes in screaming and yelling, we'll make the decision to do something about it. So whatever that means, right? Whether it's leave or call the police or
Right.
whatever that decision is. In any event, I always tell people, look, if you're doing nothing, you're doing something, and it's not beneficial.
Yeah, and something's going to happen. So you mentioned a moment ago about business, and tell me a little bit about what's going on in your life
Sure
in the
thing.
business world.
So right around 98, 99, in that scope of time, I did a couple tours. I had three in the Middle East and did some work in on the border of Mexico.
Hmm.
Um, we won't tell that story now because anyway, in any event, um, um, my parents were in the nightclub business, remember?
Right.
So, I was used to promotions and marketing and that kind of stuff within the realm of the nightclub business.
Yep.
And um, I had a harebrained idea. A friend of mine, his name is Rafael Licea. And Rafael Licea is the founder, one of the founders with the Kiwanis Club of an event called Calle Ocho, 8th Street in Miami. It's the largest Hispanic event in the United States.
Oh,
Um, they don't loan the name to anyone, they don't license the name, none of that. But I called him up and I said, Rafael, I don't have a job, but I have an idea. And this is my idea. I want to do your event in Houston. Okay. Um, he said, look, I'll lease the name to you for $1 for 1 year. Then you're on your own, right? Because this is all I can do for you. So he did that, and I went to a couple of retailers. Paul, I didn't know anything about anything. I knew how to market a nightclub. I had zero idea about, you know, these large events, right? Not totally, but in any event. So um, I remember going to a retailer and saying, hey, I've got this idea. And the retailer says, fantastic. We're going to do it. So now I'm asking them for $2 million to do
holy
this event because
cow.
it's like 5 miles of entertainment, right? Millions of people come to this thing. Anyway, so I said, okay, well, I'll be back Tuesday, thinking I'm going to get a check so I can start my event. Had $0. Okay. So I get there and the guy's name's Rudy Talamana. I said, Rudy, I'm here for the check. He goes, what check? What are you talking about? It's when we talked for 8 hours the other day, right? He says, oh, you don't know how this works, do you? I said, what do you mean? It's like, what we do is now we're going to take your idea, we're going to pitch it to our vendors, and they're going to raise the money. We'll
Oh,
get the media, we'll raise the money for you. Okay, fine. We have a breakfast a couple weeks later. We have a breakfast, and all these companies show up, right? Uh, Medigold, you had Unilever, Procter and Gamble, right? About 20, 25. Coca-Cola was there. Miller Beer was there. They were a big sponsor for us at that time. Anyway, so they all buy into the idea. And they start writing checks. Well, another caveat that the inexperienced have in big events is there are a lot of details
yeah.
and there are a lot of needs that must be met in a very timely manner.
Right.
And it's not for the faint of heart, as you know. Times, if you say I'm going to have an event on March 15th, which was the day, I mean, I did a ton of research. What's the driest day in Houston and what's the best for tourism, blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
Was this Miami or Houston?
Houston,
Oh,
Houston.
this
Yeah.
was
So
Houston.
we're licensing the name from Miami and
Oh, I
going to
got
do
you.
it
I
in
got you.
Houston.
I got you.
And so, um, it's coming, the date's coming due, and I don't have the bands booked, and I don't have, the city's balking on the police department, all this kind of stuff. At some point, now remember, all of these companies have written me checks, significant checks. Luckily, I wasn't using a lot of the money. I was doing had a couple folks working for me, but more to come. In any event, at some point, I make the decision, there's no way we're pulling this event off. There's no way. So now I have choices, right? I can cancel the event, keep the money, and run for the rest of my life as a fraudster, right? Or I can call all these guys and give them whatever money I have,
Give it back.
give it back,
Yeah.
right? So we have another breakfast. This is 8.5 months later. We have another breakfast. Now they've been reaping benefits though. They've been getting store events, they've been getting all this kind of stuff, right? And I said, guys, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to pull off the event. I have a list of you guys, how much money you have donated, or have promised, uh, and I want to write you a check back. So there I mean, Paul, one of the hardest days of my life, right? I'm watching the bank account do this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In the days where you had to keep a ledger, right? Not as easy as today. And the very final check was for $100,000. Okay, and I had 94,500 left in the account. And just like we're sitting right now, a guy by the name of Mark Kitchen, the guy's what a guy. Let me tell you, he was the regional director for Procter and Gamble. And I said, Mark, listen, I don't have your 100,000. I have 94,000 and change. I don't know when I'm going to be able to pay it, but count on it. I'm going to pay it. So I slide the check over, Paul, and he's looking at me like straight in the eye, right? And he puts his hand on the check and he goes, Dan, I don't know what you've been doing at the store level, but I've been selling a ton of cases. So why don't you keep doing what you're doing? He slides the check
Slides the check back.
and says, and pull it from there. And if you need more, call me.
Here's your break.
Gave me a break. And that's how I latched on with Procter and Gamble for 20 some odd
So you
years,
worked
man.
for them for 20 years.
Yes, sir. 23, 4 as the agency of record.
And then what was in what capacity?
So they at that time he headed up the independent grocers
Yeah.
team,
Yep.
about 18 of us. And I was their marketing company.
All right. So
Right.
you did the marketing for them.
And the cool thing was it was right on the beginning of capturing the Hispanic market.
I see.
From the nightclub business, I could talk a good game. I wasn't very
Yeah.
talented at the time, but
Right.
it I had more information than they did. How's
Yeah,
that sound?
okay. No, no, no. I understand
And
completely.
we did. I got better at it. We did a ton of stuff together, and from that team, they did so well. I like to think within Hispanic, particularly because that independent grocers team was really focused on the Hispanic.
Right. So you had a certain market that you were after.
Yes.
After you left there, what did you end up doing?
Well, the cool thing with them is out of that team, a ton of them, 7 or 8 of them, got promoted to the national level,
Wow.
and so they took me with them.
Nice.
One of them became a CEO of Starbucks. The other guy of a chock full of nuts and all this kind of stuff, right?
That's amazing.
And so they were able to expand my business. Yeah, we finished
Good.
up with about 400 employees.
That's amazing.
Not bad from an
No?
idea in the garage, right?
Tell the audience a little bit now. I hear that you're doing a lot of stuff with digital marketing
Yes.
and things like that that you are trying to help a lot of people to work smarter, not harder, for lack of a cliche.
So a couple cool things that came out of that relationship with Procter and Gamble.
Yeah.
The very first one, obviously they took me all over the country. I met such a diverse amount of people,
Sure.
at all different levels, right? And I remember being at the CEO's office, A.G. Laughley, one of the great titans of American business, 2 times P&G CEO. We're in his office, there's probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 of us. And I'm looking out the window. I'm like in shock that I'm even there. Right. And he's like, Dan, what are you thinking about? What are you doing? He's, come talk. I said, AG, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, you know? And he told me something that resonates and will resonate with you too. He said, Dan, you're my friend. And I really, really enjoy you and being around you. But if you didn't deserve to be here, you wouldn't be in this room right now. You're valuable to us from a financial standpoint, from a consulting standpoint.
Yeah.
You're not here because you're my friend.
Well, it's all about results. It's all result driven, right?
So, um, a good lesson in the corporate world, right? which are far and few between. Those are usually harsh lessons to learn.
100%.
Um, so I remember, and I can't remember what year this was. It'll come to me in a second, but we started doing soap.com, a startup
Yep.
during the internet bubble time.
Got it.
They come up with an idea that they're going to sell soap over the internet. This is like a brand new concept. Now we order whatever, right? But then it was a brand new concept. And so soap.com gets together with Procter and Gamble and says, "We want to try this." Procter and Gamble finances a bunch of their stuff. They're out of Hoboken, New Jersey. And I remember sitting in a marketing meeting, and a gal by the name of Joy Mead, who's now she's another titan of American marketing. Um, a lot of the stuff that you see actually from Disney, from ABC, from tons of people is from her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I remember her saying, "Well, who wants to take this? Because we don't know anything about it." So I'm like, meekly, right? Well, I'll take it. I like adventures, right? And so that was our entree into digital. We helped build the platform
Yep.
peripherally. They had coders, and well, I gave suggestions. I gave, on P&G's behalf, right? I knew what Procter and Gamble wanted, and from there, a year and a half later, maybe two, I remember coming home from Cincinnati, going to Houston from Cincinnati, and as we landed, everyone picked up their phone and started texting. And so, getting out of that plane, I called a guy by the name of Tim O'Neill, who's now CEO of Nestle, and he was on the team there as well. He's Nestle Retail, Starbucks, Nestle Starbucks
Not
Retail.
Tip O'Neill, the former Speaker of the
No,
House of
no,
Commons.
Tim, a Notre Dame grad, wonderful guy, taught me so much stuff too. Um, I said, "Tim, we've got an opportunity here with texting. I don't know how this works, but wouldn't it be cool if we could start sending coupons to people, right? Or information on Tide, on Gain, on Cheer." And he agreed. And he was able to fund a lot of what you have been seeing from a text messaging platform to this day.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So,
really
do you
cool.
have your own company now,
I
or
do.
what do you do?
So we do niche type marketing.
Yep.
And there's duality, right? I'm going to talk to you about what we do and how we into the security world as well, how it
And
kind of
then, yeah, tie it
doubles up
together.
on that.
Tie it together for me.
But I have a company called the Blue Door Digital Marketing. And Blue Door, what we do is we geofence areas. We do programmatic ads, which are on-demand ad delivery to your phone, to your digital gadgets, if you will. For example, I'm sure that you have been on Amazon, and maybe you like Italian food, and all of a sudden you're getting, I don't know, an ad
Oh
for
gosh, the
meatball
ads are
maker or
going
something,
everywhere on the bottom,
right?
right?
And so those are called behavioral ads, and it's what we specialize in. So we capture devices, phone IDs,
Yep.
and based on your behavior, physically and online, we're able to figure out what your likes and
So through
dislikes
the
are,
algorithms, right, of what you,
algorithms,
yeah,
and really, it's a really neat system. And I'm going to tell you something in a minute. You'll see where it in the hands of a bad actor, it could be dystopian in nature, but I can see the movements of these phones. I don't know who you are,
right,
right? I don't know it's Paul at 123 Main Street,
right.
but I do know it's phone 123, and he likes to eat at, I don't know, Johnny's Pizza, and he likes to shop at Kohl's, and he shops on Amazon, giving me the information I need to better help our clients when I'm delivering ads.
That's great, but it's also very scary.
It is in the
I
hands of a
mean,
bad actor. So
right?
it's kind of the wild, wild west right now.
It's very scary. I mean, I'm
Very
watching
much so.
stuff on AI. I mean, I'm not,
Very much
as you
so.
know, I'm not a tech savvy person, and I'm watching them launch AI actresses on TV, and now you can have your own songs, and now you can do this, and I think that, this is my own personal opinion, that we got great things happen
Mhm,
with technology, and
mhm.
then this risk reward thing is, like you said,
Absolutely.
bad actors. It gets into difficult hands.
Yes.
What do you? Let me ask you this briefly. is so what characteristics, because your background, and we haven't even touched upon it, and we'll have you back on another show, because Italians, like, we like to talk,
That's
right?
right. That's
So
right.
we'll have you back, definitely have you back again to go into the specifics. But now I want to really just focus and kind of see what characteristics or what values, what lessons, um, have you learned through your training
Hmm.
in the arts
Hmm.
that has helped you in your business and in everyday life? And I know it's broad,
Yep.
because then I'm going to leave you with asking you to name three things. But
Hmm.
just give me a few. Just give me a few of those characteristics, values, life lessons
Sure.
that has that you've learned through the training, whether it be in Hawaii, with, like you were talking about the 12-hour test with the guys and whatever, that has made you who you are today.
Look,
Just give me a few of those.
well, life's tough, right? Life's hard every day for all of us. You could be Bill Gates or you could be the homeless guy. We're all going through something.
Trading Places. Remember the movie?
We really, I mean, life's hard. But I tell parents all the time, and look, I struggle with it sometimes too. 95% of life is showing up,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And so when you think about it in martial arts terms, when you first start, you're scared, man.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
don't, you
boy.
either don't want, and I don't care who you are.
Oh,
Look, like I told you, I was a street fighter. Man, I was terrified to go through that wall, to that door, not because I was going to get hurt, but because I don't want to look stupid or that whole ego trip kind
yeah.
of thing, right? So from a martial arts standpoint, 95% of it is just showing up, stepping through that door, having the courage to step through that door. And I think that that is the biggest takeaway from martial arts for me, where it's like, man, just show up, right? Show up, have the courage to show up and step through the door. And you know what? If you fall on your face, who cares? You're not going to do it again because you're going to learn that lesson. And if you got to learn that lesson 10 times, well, so be it. Show up.
95% show up, huh?
Show up.
You think that consistency of the practice, whether it be sparring, kata, other so voluminous amount of life lessons in
Mhm.
there, have you utilized those? Because I
Good
know I
question.
pull on those, right? I always say that, I went to Malden Catholic High School. That's where we had the tournament, right? I'll say
Hmm.
there's two things that really made my educational journey and my life journey that much easier. And
Hmm.
that was attending that high school.
Hmm.
Shout out to Malden Catholic. And it's been my now 50 years of training in the martial arts
Yes.
that has made the difficult life really a good life,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Well,
If you were so let's end it with this. If you were going to name three things
mhm.
to parents, let's focus on children right now,
Sure.
and as we wrap this up,
Sure.
if you were going to name three things, life lessons that martial arts can teach their children,
Mhm.
what would it be?
The very first one is discipline. You need a third party to be a sounding board for discipline. So your instructor, your martial arts instructor, will be that person for you. Let them teach. If an owner, a school owner, or an instructor is uh, letting someone instruct your child, let them teach. Don't get involved in terms of, oh, he shouldn't have talked to you like that, or oh, there's trust the process, if you
Yes.
will.
Yep.
Trust
100%.
the process,
Okay.
because let me tell you, not only will that kid benefit, but you as a parent will benefit
Good
as well,
point. Okay. Number two.
because a lot of that rebelliousness, for example, will get taken away.
Yeah, it's
Right.
transference. Absolutely. What about the second one?
The second one has to be self confidence for the kids, right? And that doesn't, and don't get it confused with a false sense of security.
Ah,
Okay, two different things, right? Because you can be Bruce Lee in the gym, but that all goes away on the street in a street fight.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is temper that, right? Temper that that duality of self confidence and not overconfidence,
Get it.
right?
Yep.
But I've seen kids, particularly, and here's a shout out to you. I've been to schools all over the planet. You name it. Italy, Portugal, Russia, Honolulu, you name it, Argentina. I've been in a karate school. Never have I seen the camaraderie and the tight knittedness, if you will, that I see in your school. So
Thank
that
you.
is a direct reflection of you and your instructors.
Well, thank you for that.
I said it to
Appreciate
your guys yesterday, and I said something that Sifu Mike used to tell me all the time. Show me the students, and I'll tell you about his teacher.
True. It's
And
everything in life, right?
phenomenal, phenomenal family camaraderie. That's why I love coming here.
Oh, it's so
That and the
goddamn
pizza.
good here. All right, give me the third one.
The third one would be that camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
We all need, we are a species that needs collectiveness, right? We need to be part of something bigger than us.
Which we started the program off of, right? And that can go
Absolutely.
good way or bad way.
Absolutely.
It's that belonging, that community, that
Yes.
family atmosphere that we all need. And if we can teach our kids, starting, like I said, you see them, we have them at 3 years old,
Hmm.
right? As long as
Absolutely.
they can walk and talk, we want them, right?
Yes.
And noodle there, right?
Yeah. From 3 years old.
He joined our program at 3 years old, and he's 25 years old. He's in his master's degree program. He's been an instructor for us. He's got a great job, and that's a testament, I guess, to what we try to do as great martial arts teachers, right?
Yep.
Well, Dan, it's been an absolute honor. You have a very interesting life, which we've only touched the surface, and I really look forward to having you on the show. And it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so very much. Big shout out to you, and a big shout out to the Black Belt Attitude. And keep on going.
Soki, thank you so much for having me, and just a shout out to your personal family and your broader family. I just love Cervizzi's martial arts, man.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you for
bless.
having me.
Thank you.